So today I want to get into a video that I saw from CBS Mornings regarding cassette tapes and why they're seeing sales surge. Let's talk about it. What's up, Rad family? I'm happy to announce I've partnered up as an affiliate with Freestyle Watches. The watches with neon pops, surf swagger, and that woven strap vibe owned the wrist scene back in the 80s. They're back with retro cool, water resistant up to 100 meters, alarms, night vision backlights, and slick Apple Watch straps to level up your tech. Snag yours now by clicking the link in the description below or scanning the QR code on your screen. And don't forget to use the discount code STAYRAD10 at checkout for an extra 10% off your first order. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. I'm Rad, back with another video. And as I said, I want to get into this video that I came across. I'm not going to play it up on screen. I will link to it in the description box below. That way you all can go and check it out yourself. But it did, kind of make me think a little bit about, if you recall, a couple weeks ago, I did a video about CDs and them making a comeback. And this video might not be what you think. I'm not saying that they're not necessarily making a comeback, but they're not going to be like CDs, and they're definitely not going to be like vinyl. Now, cassette tapes is something that I have the most of. I have hundreds of cassette tapes located in various areas throughout my house. And I do love to collect them. And quite honestly, I think about the surge that they're seeing in sales is obviously from collectors, not necessarily people that think it's superior quality like CDs. Now, I actually want to put up some stats and actually go over, so I'm looking at them on my phone, so excuse me while I read off of them. But in 2023, cassette sales in the U.S. skyrocketed by 440% since 2015, with 436,000 tapes sold. In the UK, nearly 400 cassettes were flying off shelves every single day. That's a 20-year high. Big artists are driving this. Taylor Swift sold 21,500 cassettes, and Dua Lipa, I don't even know who that is. Sabrina Carpenter, Harry Styles, Billie Eilish, they're all dropping new albums onto tape. So of course, when you say why cassettes, it's because of what I love to talk about, and that's nostalgia and aesthetics. But there is something else that growing up in our era that they do kind of touch base on this video a little bit about it, and that's regarding the mixtape. Now, I grew up in the 70s, so I've been around 8-tracks. So 8-tracks had been around since, I believe, the 60s. People had the players in their cars, so there was one rare car that they made with an actual album player in it. Didn't really work real well, but so we all know that albums aren't really portable. You're able to listen to them at home, but they're not portable unless you go and buy that big boom box that plays an album, flips it over backwards. There are a lot in Australia. I would love to have one of those one day, by the way.
That's here now in Sharp's VZ2000, complete with cassette, tuner, amp, and speakers. Completely portable too, with mains or battery power. And Sharp's amazing bilateral record player that plays both sides of the record automatically, so you'll never need to turn a record over again. Without Sharp technology, it would still be just an idea. Sharp, we put you a step ahead.
But I think we can all agree that they're not convenient. So 8-tracks came out, and aside from the 4 tracks that they had and the noticeable pause between changing of the tracks, they were extremely convenient. So you were able to take them, pop them in your car, and drive on down the road. So then cassette tapes was the next gradual, or the next progression in technology. And to me, some were great quality. Also the player that you play them on. But then fast forward into the mid 80s when CDs came out, obviously better quality. But for the first time, what happened with the cassette tape, which is why it was so important in the 80s, was the mixtape. The ease of being able to record onto that cassette tape is why it blew up. Now, you could record There were Radio Shack sold blanks, 8 tracks that you can record. But again, it's not the same thing. So back in the day, in the 80s, that's why I still kind of laugh at shows like American Idol and stuff like this, where these people are acting like they just have to get on these shows in order to make it when they have YouTube. You have YouTube nowadays and you can totally kill it. But back in the day, a lot of the top artists that you know today started out from selling mixtapes from the trunk of their car. So they were able to go, or not necessarily mixtapes, their demo tapes. It was convenient. They could pop it in, hit record, record their song, record their mix, and then go and sell it. So that's what made cassette tapes take off to the amount that it did. CDs, you couldn't do that. I mean, yes, you can burn songs onto CDs, but it was just so much more easy to press record and record your track onto a cassette, hand it to a friend who then passes it to that record producer. Definitely a lot harder back in the day than it is today. So that's kind of why when I see these shows like American Idol, I'm just kind of like, yeah, it's hard to break into the industry, but our group of people had it a hell of a lot harder than you ever will. Now, of course, there's lots of critics. I'm sure I'll have some of the comments of this, just like I had comments in the CD video. Tapes are lower quality. There's really no way around it. They're just not as good a quality of CDs, obviously. I still prefer vinyl. Not that I'm saying it's a better quality, but there's just something about it that hits for me that I love to hear vinyl. However, you can't take a record with you in the car, which is why I buy tapes and I buy CDs. So, of course, it's probably a little overhyped. You have these newer, younger artists that are just kind of, throwing it out there. And of course, their fans are buying it because as a collector, you can't really knock them. As a collector, I do the same thing. I find a movie on VHS that I'd never owned before, so I buy it. Then I'm like, VHS quality is not that great on this. Maybe I'll see it on DVD. And then later on, I'm like, that's good. Oh, I just came across it on Blu-ray. I've been buying a lot of Blu-ray lately as I come across them. A perfect example is Tron Legacy. I have the DVD. It's DVD. It's not that old. It's a good movie. But then I also have it on Blu-ray, and the quality of the Blu-ray is far superior. I mean, it looks so good. Now, just like I said before, I have one of the very first Blu-rays that came out with the movie Highlander, and it was not like a digitally remastered film. It was crappy recording and then loaded onto Blu-ray. So just because it's on Blu-ray doesn't automatically mean it's better quality. It comes down to the way it's mastered and recorded and then put on there. But of course, when it comes to collecting things, I'm all on board. I'm not going to knock it. I'm not necessarily going to go out and buy any of these new artists because I don't listen to that style of music anyway. But when I'm out almost on a weekly basis and I come across cassette tapes, I normally buy some. I have, again, probably have several hundred of them spread throughout different rooms in the house, and then go through them and then put a little collection case together to take with me in the car like I do with my CDs. So as I mentioned before, it's all about the collecting. Just for example, how many of you all are familiar with Pink Floyd at Pompeii? I've watched it for years on YouTube. I absolutely love it. I have a friend that who is a musician that actually never knew that. And of course he knows Pink Floyd, but he never knew about Pompeii. So was able to explain it to him and about how awesome it is. Well, as you know, or maybe you don't, Pink Floyd just remastered all that, and then it was limited view within IMAX throughout the world or country, or I can only speak for America. We had them here. I don't know how they were in Europe. But I had a feeling that they would eventually come out in the form of a record or a DVD or something. Well, I follow them on Instagram, and sure enough, they did. They posted them up on Amazon, and they have the Pink Floyd at Pompeii on, this is the Blu-ray, and they made it like a little vinyl case, right? So that's really cool. And again, if you've never seen this, you can go watch it on YouTube for free. it's just cool, man. It's like if you have only listened to like say Dark Side of the Moon or The Wall, then you're missing some of their earlier stuff and what they sound like. And then of course they released it onto vinyl, and so I have it, and it's a 2 set vinyl set with a poster and everything in there. So of course I'm going to collect that. I already listened to it, already watched the DVD or the Blu-ray, and I love that people come out with stuff like this. So would I buy a Taylor Swift? I don't know a single Taylor Swift song. I really don't. I don't know any Billie Eilish songs or the other people that I mentioned. I don't even know who that one person is. But if other artists come out, older artists from our generation come out with things like this, and it's a band that I loved growing up, I'm absolutely going to buy that. Which then brings me to exactly why younger people are buying these new tapes. It's no different, and I applaud them for that. Again, they want something that's tactile. They want something that they can put their hands on and that they can collect. Oh, and they also did put this on CD as well, but I didn't buy it in CD. I just bought the vinyl. But they're wanting something that they can collect. They're wanting something that they can put their hands on, and I applaud them for that. And it's because of that. I mean, there are probably a lot of Gen Z kids that are buying this Pompeii. Maybe not tons, but I'm sure it's going to get to that point. They hadn't released it on cassette, though, right? But anyway, I'm going to continue to buy up cassette tapes, not because they're superior quality. So again, as Brandon at genx POV says, I'll see you in the comments. I always love when I make a video and then I go and I read a comment and you can clearly tell that they didn't watch the video all the way through. So I will have somewhere in the comments, somebody will comment like, oh my God, you said that you think that cassettes are good or blah, 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 whatever. I love collecting cassettes because I love collecting cassettes. They were something that, we sat by the radio waiting for the DJ to shut up so we can record that new song, make a mixtape, spread it around to our friends, bring it to parties. It was the perfect medium for music in the 80s and early 90s, not CDs. So that's why I love it, and I'll continue to buy them, and I applaud the Gen Z people that are going out and buying them and collecting them so we can keep little pieces, as I say, of history from going to the trash bin. So, of course, companies like to sell stuff. So if they see that there's a resurgence in there, they're going to help that, so to speak. I've often talked about these new toys. Excuse me, I just got a text message. Let me silence that real quick. So you have these new toys that they're remakes of Masters of the Universe and G.I. Joe and all these different ones that we grew up with. So who's really buying those? Are 8-year-old kids going out and buying Masters of the Universe like we were when we were 8? No, it's people like me. Of course, I haven't bought any of the remakes. I still like to try to find the originals. But companies know that they can tug on the heartstrings a little bit of our memories and the nostalgia that I talk about on this channel all the time. It makes us feel good. It's like our comfort food. And so we go out and we buy it. So the more and more they keep doing this, that we go out and buy, they're going to continue to go out there and make new stuff. So is it something that our generation is really bringing back? I would say no. Once again, it's the Gen Z kids that are starting to do this. It's maybe a little bit trendy, kind of cool because it's that being able to hold that piece of music that you own in your hand in the form of a cassette tape. So it does have some tactile, as I've said before, feel to it. And then you can stack them on your shelf and display them with the artwork. And you can't do that with digital downloads. So with that said, drop some comments below about what your thoughts are about the resurgence of cassette tapes. Again, whether you're a collector or you are an audiophile, let me know what you think in the comments below. And with that said, If this is the type of content you like, please consider liking the video with a thumbs up, subscribing to the channel, sharing the video with your friends. And with that said, I appreciate you watching, and I'll see you on the next video.